Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Soso, and welcome back to another episode of Fight Rewind. This time, we got Isaac, the Honey Badger Doolittle, with me, and he's gonna be on the co-main event April 21st at BKFC 38. Isaac, how's it going, my man?
Going pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing well, brother. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get started, let the people know where they can follow you on social media.
Just Instagram at Isaac.Doolittle and then on Facebook just under my name.
Awesome, brother. Let's get started here, man. You were on an impressive streak when it came to BKFC. You made your debut, had 3 fights in a row, 3 wins in a row before you faced Marine Richmond. Tell me a little bit about what brought you into BKFC, bare knuckle fighting, because I know you had a little bit of a professional mixed martial arts career going there.
So yeah, I started out in MMA. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy. That's all I've done. In fact, my whole MMA career was literally jab, jab, grab. I didn't have any striking, and I got under a new coach, and he started teaching me boxing. And it was right after COVID. We actually had the first sanctioned sports event after COVID in Kansas.
Nice.
And the commissioner, my whole amateur career and my pro career, the only way I was able to get fights was I was a last minute guy. On Wednesday, they'd ask if I wanted to fight the hometown hero who was 9-0, and by Saturday, I'd be stepping in. And most of the time, I gave him an L just because I'd out grapple him and then just choke him out. Then when I got to the striking coach, we went and did a boxing match. And then, like I said, COVID hit, and the commissioner asked if I wanted to do a bare knuckle because he knew that I was crazy enough to do anything. And I was like, well, why not? I'll be the first bare knuckle guy in Kansas. And we did it in this steaming hot warehouse. There was like 60 of us in this tiny little warehouse. It was 105 degrees out.
Wow.
We had no air conditioning, 7 fans running. In fact, our beloved cut man has a heart problem, so all the fighters were taking turns with ice cold water on the back of his neck. It was just miserable. Nobody had to warm up. We were all sweating. But yeah, that wasn't through the BKFC, but it was one of the BKFC fighters. He'd already fought Chris Sorrow, John McAllister, and I knocked him out in the second round. And the state commissioner asked if in fact, with that one, it was at 205. I only weighed like 190 pounds. I hopped off the roof I was working on, and I had sledgehammers in my pants and all my tools. And so I weighed in at 204. And as I'm leaving, the commissioner's or the promoter's wife yelled at me. I was like, "Are those sledgehammers?" I sprinted out the door so the state commissioner didn't see me.
What a hell of a start to your bare knuckle career, man.
And then they asked if I wanted to do bare knuckle. They were coming to Salina here in Kansas, and I fought this really tall, lanky, Hispanic-looking boss hog, and that I hit that dude, broke everything on his face, and he still came at me like the Crypt Keeper. In fact, he's got a big knot on his face, and I apologize about it every time that I see him at fights now, because you don't want to do that to somebody.
Definitely.
But after that, yeah, that is the sport, but I still feel bad about it. After that, I went and fought Jay Jackson, and we had a brutal war. And then I fought Jared Warren, and then I fought Richmond. So it was a 4-fight win streak. And every fight, I told him I was going back to MMA after I lost. But it's just kind of too fun to give up.
Well, you bring up something interesting because a lot of the guys who are bare knuckle right now, right? They got their start doing professional MMA, right? Or trying to come up in the ranks of MMA, and then they figured like, man, this is not for me because my striking is really good, or I'm much better of a boxer than I am a grappler or a wrestler or something like that. But you have that Brazilian jiu-jitsu in your background. Like, being in bare knuckle must be a little bit different because it's probably super easy for you to take somebody down, choke them out, get an arm bar, get a triangle or something, and just call it a night without taking any damage.
Pretty much. I usually don't get hit. I just take somebody down.
Now, with that being said, Bare knuckle is definitely a fight where you do need to have good head movement, and I feel like jiu-jitsu guys, they definitely have good head movement because they usually have strong necks, right? And they can absorb some of the punching. What is it about bare knuckle fighting that intrigues you more than any of those other disciplines?
Originally, it was just so that I could tell my kid, "Hey, your dad was a bare knuckle fighter." But now it's just it allows me to play that clinch game, and it allows me to come in and come out. And also, there's that you're a badass bare knuckle fighter. Not many people want to
True.
do it,
True.
but it's I always view fighting as a game.
Mm.
People may disagree. They may take it personally. It's their life. No, this is a game. I'm enjoying my game. If you've ever played Elden Ring, you keep on going again, smashing your head against the wall until you beat that boss, and that's kind
Right.
of my mentality.
That's great, man. That's a great attitude to have towards it because honestly, it's not for everybody, right? And in order for you to be in bare knuckle, I feel like you have to have a certain type of mindset about what it is it means to be a bare knuckle fighter, And I get that vibe from you big time. I wanted to touch into your next fight with Jake Brutal Boswick coming up on April 21st. This is the first time that you're going to be fighting in a lower weight division, right? As far as BKFC is concerned.
It is. Most of the time, I just walk around at about 190. So now I got to actually not eat food, and I don't like it.
Yeah, man. I wanted to ask you about that weight cut because you're not necessarily a really tall guy, so some guys find that a little bit easier. But what's the weight cut been like for you, and how's camp been?
It's not a terrible weight cut. I'm just a fat kid that likes to work out. So when I see cinnamon rolls and coffee, you know I'm sprinting that direction. But now I can't. I don't like it.
Got it. Let me ask you a little bit about your fighting style. I know that you have that grappling background, that jujitsu background. What is it about your stand up that can cause problems for these guys in bare knuckle fighting, especially a guy like Jake?
Head movement and footwork, I get offline and I grab you. And nobody's been able to really fight back against my clinch. Every time that I
Mm.
fight, I improve it at some point, and nobody's been able to match even the starter clinch that I started with. So we're gonna see if somebody my height can handle the bigger clinch.
That's a big aspect in bare knuckle fighting, right? Using the ability to use a clinch, right? Kind of keep your opponent real close to you, either work the body on the inside or outside, and then continue to work some uppercuts. Not too many guys have that in their arsenal, and for somebody like you to have it is very impressive.
hmm And I always tell Sean Wheelock because he's the voice of BKFC, and I've told my opponents, you all know how to beat me. It's not
Mm.
real hard. With fighting me, it's not it's a no-brainer. Either I get you in the clinch or you stay out of the clinch. That's it. It's not rocket science.
But you're looking to keep Jake in the clinch this fight on April 21st, I bet.
Oh yeah. And he's just as short and stocky as I am, so we're gonna have fun with it.
That's why I love this matchup, man. Honestly, the matchup between you guys is definitely gonna be an eye opener for the rest of the world to see because, like you said, you guys are very evenly matched, right? And you have similar body styles. It's just a fact of who's gonna be able to get off their punches a lot quicker or do the most damage. And I'm really looking forward to this fight. For me, I always wonder when it comes to bare knuckle fighting, like how does one get mentally ready to get into that ring? And I kind of want to know what your I don't want to say like your game plan, right? We got to keep that a secret. We can say that, save that for off air. But like, what is your mentality like the day of the fight that you already made the way in? You're back to rehydrating. You wake up, it's fight night, and what goes through your mind and emotions for that day?
Everybody's scared spitless. They all have their own method of getting into the headspace. You're getting into a ring to do bodily harm from another person. People like
Mm.
Lorenzo Hunt and the guys who say, "Oh, I'm not. I'm born for this." You're still nervous. You're still scared. It doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to convince me otherwise. So yeah, everybody says that I look scary walking out to the ring, and I've already told everybody that I can think of. And you got to realize the only thing going through my head at that point is don't piss yourself. Don't piss yourself.
Yeah, because you've
But
already
once
done the hard part.
once I it's less for me about the fight than it is for the people watching. I don't
Mm,
want to look like an idiot in front of the people watching. As long as I put up a good fight, I'm happy.
true.
Win, lose, draw, doesn't matter. As long as I went out there and I put on a good fight. Like I said, I'm in it for the fun. I'll take the wins. I enjoy the wins. I'm not a big fan of the losses, but a fight's a fight.
Yes, sir. Fight's a fight. And you know what? Losses are part of the path of life, right? And that's what makes the wins even better. I wanted to ask you, you got a badass nickname, the Honey Badger. And I don't think a lot of people really know how badass a Honey Badger can be. Where did that nickname come from, brother?
So that nickname is old, like really old. When I was first starting out in MMA, one of my coaches looked at me, and it was when that old YouTube video "Honey Badger Don't Give a Shit" came out back in what, like
Like early 2000s.
2012, something
Yeah,
like
man.
that. It was like a decade ago. One of my coaches saw it, and he goes, "This is you." I went, "No, it's not. That stop being stupid." He's like, "You just went against Justin. I watched you shoot in on him. He put you into a concrete wall, and you reshot in on him before he even came back. You headbutted a concrete wall and then grabbed his legs." I went, "Well, yeah, I'm going to be dizzy, but I still want his legs."
Right.
And so he called me the Honey Badger, and for the longest time, I didn't take it. I didn't have a nickname. I was waiting for like somebody to give it to me. I went through a lot of them. I went through Cannonball. I went through uh, I can't even tell you all the ones I went through. And finally, I think it was my second pro fight, one of my old teammates was the ring announcer. And of course, I didn't put anything down for the nickname. And he turned around and goes, "I've been waiting 8 years to do this." And he yelled it out. And I was like, "All right, I'll take it."
I mean, shit, if you're going to make it official, you got to make it official in that type of fashion, right? Where you
Yeah.
have
And that
one
was,
of your buddies do it.
I stepped in with that fight up a weight class the day of.
Wow.
Uh, and it was against a Tampa Bay Super Bowl. I think he was like a tight end or something. So yeah, I shot in on him in the first round. By the way, I had just won my first pro fight, so I was like eating cake and candy and sweating Crisco in this week. There was only a week between the fights, so I was getting fat on everything you could think of. You could see the Crisco shine on me under the lights. I shot in on him, and he tried to Captain Insano powerbomb me like
Wow.
from the water boy, like pick me up at the waist. I
Right.
barely got a hold of his ankles, and he took me down, and he almost got an Americana on me, and I got out and I got his back, and I was so tired. I took his bat, flattened him out, and I was punching his face from rear mount just as hard as I could. And because I was so tired, it wasn't even that hard. And I remember the ref pulling me off, and I looked up. I was like, "Do not stand us up. I am dead." And he looks at me and goes, "No, you won."
Yes.
Yes.
That's an awesome story, man. Yo, Isaac, you have a great aura about you, man. Your energy is very positive, bro. I think you have a great outlook on life. You have a great outlook on fighting, especially. And I think the fans are really in for a treat, man. April 21st, when you get to face off against Jake Bostwick, man. Let the people know what they can expect to see from you that night, man.
I mean, you've seen my fights against tall guys. It's usually calculated. It's 5 rounds. Um, I do damage, but they run away. You saw what I did when I fought somebody my height.
Mm-hmm.
All of Denver was on their feet screaming. We went toe to toe. It was a bloody mess.
It was a great fight, man. A great fight.
So that's what I do to people my height. And Bostwick is just like me, forehead to forehead, hooks, uppercuts. He's called brutal for a reason. So we're
Yes.
going to see if he can get through the honey badger's hide, or if I just don't give a fuck.
I think this fight is definitely tailor made for both of you guys, and really there is a lot on the line, right? A win for either one of you guys can propel you into that championship title bout, where there's definitely room for a number one contender. I think BKFC does give guys like you and him opportunity to fight for belts and fight big names to make it a bigger event. I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about the recent transition that you see a lot of MMA guys or former UFC guys taking their path into BKFC and whether or not they find some type of success behind that?
I mean, bring the money this way.
Yeah.
That's fine. Bring them on in, but I want to fight them. Having them fight each other. That's kind of silly. Let's give them a true test. Mike Perry, if you need a call out, I really don't care whatever the other guy's name is. The problem is I'm terrible with fighters. I have no idea who anybody is. I don't watch fighting. So my coach got mad at me because Chris Lieben was holding mitts for me and I had to Google the man. So
Yo, that is rich, man. But you know what is what I said, man. You have a very fresh and unique outlook when it comes to fighting, and I think that some fighters or young fighters who look up to guys like yourself, right, and think that they can make a living in the sport, it's refreshing to see that it doesn't necessarily have to be 24/7 living, breathing, eating, fighting. You have to be able to enjoy your life and recognize what it is that you do for as a career, right, and as a job, like you said, and take it from that aspect, man.
and you never unless you're the UFC guys, unless you're the champion, you're not going to be making a living at this. Gall, I own three businesses that I'm trying to run. I do construction work. I do custom carpentry. I make and sell soap. Like you do whatever you need to do to keep yourself in the game.
Right, right.
I've
And I
got
gotta
so many side hustles. I have no time to myself.
I
You
gotta
got to do
mention
what you got to do.
I gotta mention, man, that table that you put it up on your Instagram was really cool. I showed it to my wife, and I was like, maybe I could hit him up for a piece after the fight, see how he's feeling.
Yeah,
Because
I've already. In fact, that table, I got to build two of these massive tables. I just got commissioned for it a few days ago, and I was like, dude, you're gonna have to wait.
yeah, man, I gotta take care of business first, right?
This. Well, he's one of my sponsors too, so he knows, and he's just like, yeah, don't worry about it. Whenever you got the time, and I'm happy to build stuff for people. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna get to it when I'm gonna get to it. This is the ninth job that I've got. Literally, I'm not
Nice.
kidding on the ninth. So there's a laundry list of stuff. You'll get it eventually, just like every good carpenter. We'll get there. You got to stop reminding us every 6 months.
Exactly. It's done when it's done, and it'll be done and it when it's perfect. So that's how it goes, man. But yeah, man, I really like how you approach this fight game. I really enjoy your perspective on life, and I think that you're an excellent ambassador for this sport, man. Definitely. Again, let the people know where they can find you on social media so they can start following you and seeing all the good work you do, brother.
Yeah, on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram's more my fight stuff, more my hobbies. Facebook is just me and my girlfriend trolling people. Apparently, I don't really post much, but usually she tags me and whatever. They get. I'm terrible because I'm barely on social media. I just don't have time for it.
You're a busy
Um,
man.
but I do want to say something to Bostwick. I told you this last time. I'm reinforcing it. Winner buys the loser a beer, and I drink root beer.
Root beer. I like that, man. I like that. I think, like, you know what? There's always a ton of respect between fighters, and that's something that it goes beyond sports, man. Because it takes a lot for two guys to walk in there, two women to walk in there, and really put everything on their line, literally their lives on the line, in order to entertain guys like myself and everybody else who's enjoying bare knuckle fighting, man.
I've never understood the people that sit there on the camera and oh that guy sucks. He doesn't even belong here. Most of the time you're fighting for a belt. Of course the other dude belongs there. Do you see the trail of bodies he left behind him?
Right.
Everybody that steps into that ring, especially at my level, deserves to be in that ring.
For sure. For sure.
And I also want to give a shout out to Mike Richmond, the Marine, because he is the only person to have dropped me. I thank you for that beer. You were a wonderful opponent, and I cannot wait to dance again. That
Uh,
was the most fun I have ever had.
That's awesome, man. And I think that this fight, man, I'm telling you, whoever wins this fight is like on the fast track, man, to get to that title. And you could probably get another rematch with Mike the Marine Richmond, man. I would
I
love
really
to
want
see
that.
round two of that.
Him and Lorenzo Hunt are on my bucket list of people
Ooh.
because they are the two baddest people on the roster, and I want to say I went against the baddest people. Win, lose, draw. I don't care what it is. Honey
I love
Badger don't give a shit.
Honey Badger don't give a shit. Isaac, man, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for such a fun interview, bro. I really appreciate you taking out the time. Again, follow this guy on Instagram. Trust me, you're not going to be disappointed by that. Isaac, can't wait to see you. We'll link up on Thursday at the weigh-ins, man, so we can say hello.
Sounds like a plan. I look forward to seeing you there.
Awesome, buddy, man. Thank you so much for your time again. Guys, that's Isaac, the Honey Badger Doolittle. He's a great freaking fighter. You're going to see him on April 21st. Buy your tickets right now on Ticketmaster.com. BKFC 38 at the Hard Rock. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss this one. Make sure to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend because your boy So is going to be in the building. Until next time, peace.